But what I can say, Jamaica will pay dearly, dearly for this.
From the raging ragging of yesteryear's notoriety to the modern-day infamy of duppy film, over the decades, the narrative has changed, but the story remains the same. Duppy Film is one of Jamaica's criminals who commanded center stage in the arena of the criminal underworld, on which a long line of dangerous men dubbed Public Enemy Number 1 has paraded with deadly ferocity for more than half a century. Their stories are colorfully captivating, not unlike the riveting accounts of men who are not afraid to use the deadly weapons that they tote. And, in like manner, they invariably meet dreadful ends. Ragging twinned crime and entertainment in the 1960s to create a colorful image following his arrival in Kingston from St. Catherine. Others commanded superlative notoriety over the years, including Copper, Sandokan, and Natty Morgan. For many seasoned crime fighters who have seen it all, Copper has been voted the deadliest of the deadly and the shrewdest of the shrewd. There is no question that the likes of Natty Morgan sparked untold fear. The Public Enemies Number 1 have, in a sense, set themselves apart from the labeled area dons, such as Claudius Mossop, also known as Claudy, Lester Lloyd Coke, also known as Jim Brown, and his son, Christopher Dudus Coke. A frightening feature of the men who have made the most wanted list is the label armed and extremely dangerous, and for good reason. All have been accused of multiple serious criminal acts. They have evaded determined crime fighters who have soldiered on in the face of adversity by any means necessary is another feature of the hoodlums, past and present. The likes of Ragging, Sandokan, and Duppy Film has been accused of brutishly snuffing out the lives of crime fighters, while others are in the possession of their own peculiar styles. Ragging. Ragging's real name was Vincent Ivanhoe Martin. In the 1960s, he gained his infamy when he shot his way out of a dragnet. He left one policeman dead and 2 others injured. While he was in jail, he sent this letter out. I'm going to read a part of this to you guys. I have an arsenal of 29 shots, and I am satisfied that I have made history for the criminal element in Jamaica. Don't think that I am going to kill myself, because this will only serve to spoil my great record. End quote. He was so infamous that a movie and a book was named and written after him, Copper. There is a widespread view among crime fighters that Dennis Copper Barth was the leader of the East Kingston-based Hot Steppers gang, which staged several bank robberies in the latter half of the 1970s. With a $5,000 bounty on his head, Copper was described by crime fighters as a cold-blooded killer who had mastered the art of disguise. It was in May 1978 that copper was finally cut down by the police after he and his cronies failed in their bid to rob the Caymanas Park racetrack in St. Catherine. Starkey. Anthony Starkey Tingle was the most wanted man in 1980 and 1981. Starkey was the leader of an Arnett Gardens-based gang and was killed in a house in Jonestown, Kingston, during an alleged gun battle with the police in 1981. Phantom Killer. Conrad Levy, better known as the Phantom Killer, was suspected of killing close to a dozen people in the late 1980s and early 1990s. The Phantom Killer reportedly acted alone and dressed in women's clothing and wigs before stalking and killing bad men. He was eventually caught in 1991 and he was sentenced to death. He had his sentence reduced to life but escaped from prison 11 years later. He was killed on Christmas morning in 2002 during a shootout with members of the now disbanded Crime Management Unit led by former police officer, Senior Superintendent Renito Adams, who is also one of Jamaica's most infamous police officers. We will get into that in another video. Sandokan. It has been 36 years since it was reported that Wayne Sandokan Smith brazenly climbed his way into the Olympic Gardens police station and took the lives of 3 policemen and some of the armory that was stored there. The curfews and raids to nab Sandokan elicited a curious result as he was allegedly cut down by cronies in Tower Hill in 1989. Ironically, a mentally ill man carried out a similar brazen attack when he snatched a gun from a policeman in front of the very same Olympic Gardens station. However, he was killed within minutes. So enviable had the infamous Kingston-based Sandokan found himself that another hoodlum sought to imitate him and met the same fate, death. In 2004, Eric Sandokan Brown, aged 29, an accused killer who was on the FBI's most wanted list, was killed by the police. Natty Morgan. The original Sandokan was not cold in his grave when Nathaniel Natty Morgan and his men emerged in the criminal underworld with a vengeance. Natty Morgan was targeted for, among other crimes, invading a wake in Seaview Gardens for one of his victims and executing at least 6 men who were in attendance. Natty Morgan managed to escape custody after he was shot and injured by the police during a shootout in West Kingston. The gangster escaped from the gun court in 1990 and remained at large until he was finally cut down in a hail of police bullets after the cops had cornered the gang in Lakes Pen, St. Catherine, 8 months later. Joel Andem. The long chronicle of dangerous wanted men over the years led to the now incarcerated Joel Andem. He was on the most wanted list for 4 years before he was captured in the district of Clarksonville, St. Anne. Andem was charged with 2 murders, conspiracy to murder, 10 counts of shooting with intent, 12 counts of illegal possession of a firearm, kidnapping, and robbery with aggravation. The crime scene in Jamaica has been very disturbing. Lots of kids dying, lots of women dying, lots of wanted men dying. But the list of Jamaica's criminals is just so very long that we just can't finish. We can't finish Jamaica small, but there's a lot of criminal elements out there, man. John Crow. Winston McCarthy, also called John Crow, was the leader of the John Crow gang, who the police blamed for a number of murders, shootings, and robberies. He was killed by the police after he was seen firing a gun salute at a dance along the Essex Hall Main Road in St. Andrew in 1996. On Wednesday, the 3rd of June 2015, the police listed Marlon Perry, or Duppy Film, of Philip Field in Yallas, St. Thomas, as a wanted man. The lawmen stated that he was 173 centimeters, or 5 feet 8 inches tall, and he was wanted in connection with murders and other crimes in the parish. It was known that he frequented Poor Man's Corner, Logwood, and Pondside in St. Thomas. He haunted many with terror for more than 6 years. His aunt revealed that Perry had a speech impediment as a child. As a result, he became an outcast in the community. He would stutter when he spoke, and he was small and couldn't fight. Hence, boys would beat him, and they also took away his money. This caused him to promise to become a killer when he grew up, so he could kill the boys who mocked and teased him as a boy. It's unclear if he managed to kill the persons who hurt him in his youth. Donovan Perry, his dad, was convicted when his son was 8 years old and spent 12 years in prison as he was convicted in a shooting-related crime. He said Marlon's mother was not there for him as he grew up. He and other family members asked Marlon to turn himself in when he heard that the police were looking for him. Duppy Film came under the police radar in 2010 following the murder of Thomas Lane, and he was said to be responsible for a number of the illegal guns that had entered Jamaica because he was a big player in the guns for drugs trade. He was wanted for the murder of 2 policemen, Corporal Kenneth Davis and Constable Craig Palmer. They were gunned down at a shop at Poor Man's Corner in the parish, and he was responsible for a murder in Haiti as well. The police set up several dragnets to catch Perry, but he normally escaped. At one time, it was rumored that a popular politician helped him to leave the island on a boat that took him to Haiti after he was hiding out on the south coast. It was said that he also changed his appearance by bleaching his skin, growing a beard sometimes, and shaving at other times. He used this to escape arrest numerous times. He was skilled at evading the police, while his gang members were often caught or killed. An increase in the bounty of $1 million was offered to anyone who gave information that led to an arrest of the suspect. The urgency to catch Perry increased when he started sending death threats to the officers using text messages. This caused the bounty on his head to go up to $1.5 million. Duppy Film believed in occult and obia. He didn't even trust his own shadow, and he traveled to Haiti by boat. He usually gets properly oiled with the oil he got from the obia workers before he went out to do his wicked acts. The last time Perry took on a joint police and army combined team, the reputed leader of the Duppy Flames gang was killed at a small guest house in St. Thomas. His last night was spent in an air-conditioned room that had a big TV for his entertainment, and he had just eaten fish before he died. He was pronounced dead at the St. Margaret's Bay Hospital after he was shot in a downstairs room in a shootout. The gang leader was buried in November 2017. Only a few family members were at his funeral. The casket was closed, and after his reign of terror, it was said that his family members were struggling to finance his funeral. He was wanted for a triple murder in St. Thomas, the parish of his birth, and he was also suspect in a shooting that took place in 2013. As he lived, so he died at the age of 27, clutching his gun, his favorite weapon.
Just looking at the year of work at night, so we need to yard busy. This have been week a yard. Holy bun.
I thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves. One love. Bye.